Hello everyone! Today we're gonna get into some inversions. So we're first gonna warm up our shoulders by rolling our shoulders in both directions. So 4 times backwards and then roll your shoulders forward 4 times. And then we're gonna stretch out our triceps. So first bring your right elbow up and use your left hand to stretch out your tricep on your right side, and then you can switch to the other side. And then we're gonna advance into a cow face, which is a more intense shoulder stretch. So you're gonna first try to bring your right elbow up and left elbow down, and then try to connect your hands behind your back. So I'm demonstrating the hand positioning on the back. And then you can switch to the other side, and it's perfectly fine if one side is less flexible than the other, as you can see here, but that's all good. And after you're done, we're gonna warm up our spines. So we're gonna do some cat and cows. So arch your back and look up when you breathe in, and round your back and bring your head down when you breathe out. So let's be in this cat and cow for several breaths to warm up our spines, which will be supporting us in our inversions later. And then we're gonna go into a puppy pose by keeping your legs bent, but walk your hands forward until your forehead is on the ground. And this is a great shoulder stretch, which will build some strength for our handstands later. Okay, so be here for a couple breaths, and then keep your forearms on the ground to get into a dolphin plank. So shift your hips forward to be in a plank position on your forearms. All right, so make sure that your core is engaged, and ideally your whole body should be in one plank. And then you're gonna get onto your hands to get into a high plank pose. So keep your core engaged again, and then make sure that your whole body is in one plank to really strengthen your shoulders. And then you can kick your right leg up and step your right foot forward in between your hands to come into a high lunge pose on your right side. So hands can come above your head, hands touching each other, and then make sure that your hips are leveled so that you can feel the stretch in your left hip. And then this pose is gonna help us to engage in our cores, and to do more of that, we're gonna step up our left feet into a chair pose to further strengthen our cores and our legs. And then you can step your right leg back into a high lunge on the other side. And the feet positioning is really gonna help us get ready for the shoulder stands and handstands later. So engage in your core and make sure that your hips are leveled. And then you're gonna bring your hands back down onto the ground into a plank. And then we're gonna transition into side planks. So first on your right side. So right hand on the ground and left hand lifted, and arms are perpendicular to the ground. Make sure that your core is engaged and your hips are lifted, so you're really feeling the strengthening in your core. And then you can flip to the other side by bringing your left hand down and right hand up. Once again, engage your core and then lift your hips up to really feel the sensation of strengthening your core. And then bring your right hand down and pike up your hip into a downward facing dog. And then through a chaturanga, we're gonna come into an upward facing dog. And then we're gonna go back into a downward facing dog. We can paddle out our feet to release any tension that we might have had. So we did a lot of shoulder strengthening poses. so that we're ready for our inversions. Before we get started, I'm going to pause right here because I am right in front of a wall, and I do recommend you to do that as well because it's going to help you to be more safe in case you're either afraid of inversions, you're trying it for the first time, or you're afraid of flipping over into a wheel. So be in front of a wall if you want a little bit more support for your first several times of trying inversions. All right, with that out of the way, we can get into our first inversion, which is forearm stands. So come into your forearms and then make sure that your head is not too close to the wall so that you don't bump your head into the wall. And then you're going to come into one leg bent and one leg straightened out and kicked backwards. And then you're gonna use your bent leg as your supporting leg to support you to kick the straightened leg up. All right, so you can try it on both sides. Once you're ready, you can get into this beautiful forearm stand. The next level for our inversions is a handstand. So you can bring your hands onto the ground and position them at least one head width apart from the wall, and you can swing your head backward and forward to make sure that there is enough space and you won't bump your head into the wall. And then you're gonna step 1 foot forward and 1 foot back, almost in this high lunge position, when you try to use the bent leg to kick your back leg up. All right, so let's try it a couple times on each side. So I'm switching my sides this time. I'm almost in this high lunge position when I use my bent leg to kick my back leg up. And one more time, and ta-da! Here is a handstand. And once you have more core strength, you might not need a wall anymore, but for now, here is a demonstration of a handstand. All right, and after that, to release any tension, you're gonna go into an upward salute and then a forward fold, and then shake your head out to release any tension in your back. All right, and then we're gonna get into some more inversions, but to prep ourselves, we're first gonna come into a bridge pose. Stack your knees on top of your ankles, and then support yourself on your hands by your sides, and then with one breath in, you're gonna lift your hips to get used to the sensation of being on your shoulders. All right, so we're gonna be in this bridge pose for several breaths. Make sure that your core is engaged and you're feeling the support of your shoulders on the ground. And if you want a more advanced level of a bridge pose, you can tuck your shoulders under and bring your hands together on the ground to get into this tucked in bridge pose, which will further strengthen your shoulders and get you even more ready for our shoulder stance. To come out of this pose, you're going to untuck your shoulders and bring your hands back to your sides and lower your hips. Now, 2 ways for shoulder stance. One, you can hug your knees a little bit and kick your legs up, or you can sit up a little bit and use that momentum to swing your legs up and try to keep your legs perpendicular to the ground. But if that is too much, you can first come into a plow pose, which doesn't require as much core strength, but will help you to get used to supporting yourself on your shoulders. Okay, so you can still keep your hips lifted and support yourself on your lower back with your hands. And then just swing your legs back over your head. So this is an inversion pose already, and have some fun with it. When you're at it, you can point and flex your feet when you keep in this inversion plow pose to get used to the sensation of supporting yourself on your shoulders and be inverted. And then you can try to kick your legs up, or you can sit up one more time to get some more momentum to kick your legs up. Ideally, your legs should be perpendicular to the ground, but whenever you feel like you don't have enough core strength to keep yourself in the shoulder stand, you can come back into this plow pose by lowering your legs and bringing your legs over your head, and then build enough strength to kick back up. again, that is it for our last inversion, our shoulder stand. And then we're gonna do some final stretches to release any tension. We're gonna come into some wide-legged side stretches. Leg position, you're gonna try to first touch your right toes with your left hand in a side stretch. And then you're gonna try to do the same thing on the other side. So right hand touching your left toes, all right? And then you can come through the center to relax your shoulder a little bit more. And then we're gonna do some wide-legged forward folds. So with your feet flexed, you're gonna try to bring your upper body close to one leg and then another to release and relax your shoulders a little bit and release any tension in your lower back a little bit more. Feel free to stretch out a little bit more if your body desires that, but that was it for our 3 inversions class. I hope you practice safely, and thank you so much for joining me on the mat. I'll see you next time. Bye.